Summer Series, Part 13. Hello and welcome to the Ignite Youth Podcast here at Wainfleet BIC Church, where we discuss life through the lens of our Anabaptist roots. Mm-hmm. This is Pastor Wes Hillis, our youth pastor, and my name's Julie Adams. We're glad to be here today.
Yeah. We're missing Emerson.
We are.
Yeah.
He's retired from his internship.
He's back in school now.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great to have Emerson as our intern this year. He did a lot of great work. I mean, if you came to the youth events or even if his parent dropped him off, you would have seen him. He just did a great job. So you can pray for him. His studies can go well. And but yeah, just really great job. And we're going to miss him having around his staff. But,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, today school's back in.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Weren't you just going to graduations? Remember all those sweaty graduations you went to in June?
I'm sorry, parents. Parents who are haven't had a kid graduate yet, just wait till they're grade 8 graduation in the hot, humid, non-air conditioned gym.
It's
just brutal. Wait for it. It hurts.
It does.
But yeah, no, school is back in.
Yep. And
this is actually youth. Well, when this comes out, junior high would have had its first night, and
it's the night
the
of
senior high camp out.
Yeah,
so we'll be camping out. There's also a worship night that night.
Yeah.
Tonight, I mean, but yeah. So yeah, it's a really exciting time just to be able to get back into routine and get back into meeting with the youth regularly. But before how we wanted to end summer, this is kind of like our official last of summer podcast. We want to talk about, and I think a really important message is all the questions we've gone through and everything. This is one person that I want to answer. Okay. And it was, what is the gospel? Because this is talked about a lot. People's, I feel like everyone has a different view on what the gospel actually is.
And it's used a bit differently. Like you would say the gospel of John, the gospel of Luke. Like it's a bit of a funny word that I don't think anyone actually knows what it means, but we use it.
Yeah, exactly. And the gospel, we give it to these 4 beginning books of the New Testament, but there's so much more than that. And so we're going to talk about, what is the gospel? I'm going to kind of give my kind of definition of what I personally believe the gospel is. Yeah. Julie, I don't know if you want to give your personal definition of what you think. Do you want to go first?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, perfect.
Just
go.
That way. Yeah. So to put it short, I think that the gospel means the truth. The truth.
Okay.
That is a short definition.
All right, I'm going to give the long definition.
Yes, please do.
I worked on this earlier, but I believe the gospel, it's not just these 4 books that we have at the beginning of the New Testament. It's not just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I believe the gospel is this amazing story woven throughout history. And it's centered around Jesus. That is who it is centered around. But it has a beginning with a creator. And so I believe all of scripture is this kind of it paints the picture of a gospel, I believe. And you say the gospel is truth, I say the gospel is this mosaic. Because you can watch within scripture how we have a creator and a father who walks with his children through life, who times that are really tough and times that are really easy, he still walks with them. And he provides them guidance, and you see both the ethical and social changes that go through the Israelite people of God walking with them. And I think it's this beautiful, beautiful relationship of how even when times are fantastic, and when we can go to the Psalms and how David is someone who is praising and loving everything that is happening, but also you can go through Judges and Kings and Chronicles or into the prophets, and you see so much pain and suffering and heartache and I believe it's like a story of a parent of how, and you will know this being a parent, you will go through times which are great and wonderful, but you're going to go through times where your kids are struggling.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is, that's what I believe the gospel is a part of. That's part of the gospel, this mosaic of a father walking with his children. And then that that father actually laying it out all on the line for his children, for the ones that he loves. We have Jesus who actually becomes human. This sense of a father giving his son for the rest of, and
ultimate sacrifice.
This ultimate sacrifice. And it's not out of, oh, you're going to owe me for this, but it's just out of love and compassion. And so I believe the gospel is completely, this mosaic. I wish I could paint a picture, but I'm terrible at art, of Jesus in the center, and in the backdrop you could just see God walking with people all throughout life. I think the gospel is something that is just, like I said, a story, a mosaic of one that needs to be shared. We see in the New Testament how Jesus actually tells us to go and to share. This isn't something just to keep to yourself. I remember when we did our Bad Things podcast, and Everson brought up the story of the blind man, this man who was healed by God to be able to go and share it. He's sharing his own gospel story through that. And so for all of us, I think, to share the gospel, I think we need to share the love and compassion that God has as a father, as someone who is there for us, to someone who lays down his life for us. And I think that when it really, really comes down to it, because people will still, I've said this before to people, and they're like, but what is the gospel still? And I'm like, look, I can't give you a full like a 2-sentence definition. I can't give you a 2-sentence definition, because it has so much more weight than that. I believe no words can match what the gospel truly is, because I think we feel it within ourselves. Like, I think there's times in all of our lives when we could be reading scripture or worshiping or praying or on a spiritual retreat or something, and we just have this feeling of the full embrace of God, the full encompass of just, you just know it all. Like you said, the truth. You know all of it is truth, and there's not a part of you that has doubt. And I think that right there is us experiencing the full gospel, because the gospel, sure, scripture, we've labeled that those 4 books as gospel, but there's so much more to it, because God is so much more than just a book.
Yes.
And so I think that when we're living our lives and we're going through our day, to remember that God has given us this gospel, which isn't just these 4 books, but it's the relationship we have. It's this revelation of being able to live life with God and live life with a father who loves us, who is still walking with us and still, teaching and guiding and being pursuing a part of our lives and pursuing us. And so I want to say, if you're new to the faith, if you're like, I'm, or even have been a long time, but haven't been able to put a picture or a piece to the gospel, I would say to explore it, not just within scripture, but within your own real relationship with Jesus. And that's why I say each of us has a different definition of the gospel, because we've all experienced God differently. And so whatever it might be, I think you got to be able to share that. And so for me, that's telling this, to be able to share that story. And there's been multiple times in my life where I thought I had a different definition for it. Like I remember going into my first year of Bible college, and I thought, well, the gospel is, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's what it is. Yeah. And then I remember going on youth retreats and being like, maybe it's something a bit more. Or I remember one time being on a youth retreat with a student, and they came up to me and they said, it makes sense. And I remember putting my arm around the student, and we just looked up at the stars, and I was like, that feeling of like, there's nothing, that, and that has added to my story of being able to say what the gospel is. And when I first held my son and had an understanding of God with his people, I was like, whoa, this is actually, it added so much. So I think, you know what, through all of our lives and our experiences, God is with us in each one of those moments. And I think revealing more and more of himself to us in those moments, and we gain those experiences, and it adds to that gospel story. I don't believe the gospel is something that when John finished writing that is like, hey, gospel's over, but rather it's something that's continued throughout history.
Like you were saying about sharing Jesus' message, that was probably it was part of their purpose. It wasn't like meant to only be a historical document. It was meant to be shared.
It's meant to give life, to be shared, to actually lift people up. I guess that's part of what the gospel is it lifts us up. It actually frees us a bit from the stuff holding us down. So but the gospel is a whirlwind of many things and emotions and feelings, and but it's centered around Jesus and love and, like you said, truth. But so the gospel is just this crazy, amazing, wonderful piece that we have. And I like to say it's a mosaic, because I believe a mosaic is one of the most beautiful things you can, like paintings of art that you can have.
Because a mosaic refers to something that it's like little broken pieces put together to make something beautiful, right?
And I think that's human history throughout. And the fact is the gospel actually brings it, but Jesus brings it. But that's kind of my definition of what is the gospel.
All right, you win this round, Pastor Wes.
But I mean, we would love to hear from you guys, know what your definition of the gospel is.
Yes, please.
I think,
and what it's meant to you.
Absolutely, because that brings the stories of our lives together. And I think it's just a beautiful representation of the community of God coming together to be able to share that. So I wonder if you look at the gospel differently too, just because you learned about it later in life. Maybe. I wonder, because like as a child, I always knew that this is truth. Here's the Bible. It's truth. And that was, I don't know. I think I started from that base. I didn't have to be convinced that the Bible was truth. I just always thought it was. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like I kind of went through more of a, like, I kind of got to figure this out and kind of things. And, but I guess maybe that just has added to the story of what I think the gospel is. But I think each of us, with our experiences, it adds something new and different. That's why each of us have a different answer for what it is. But awesome. Thank you, Pastor Wes. Do you want to share what's up for the fall with the youth? We have a lot planned for the youth. Like tonight is the senior high camp out, which is really exciting. But we're going to be starting a new series. It's a video series called Alpha. It's a really wonderful program that talks. It just goes deep into, what is life? Like, who is Jesus? What is, like, it just dives into all of that. And so we're really excited to be able to travel with both the junior and senior highs in that, and just be able to speak into their lives. We have a lot of fun, like, themed nights planned, like PJ night or parents night, or we're doing this really exciting thing in senior high called Team Hub. And so what Team Hub is, essentially, we split the youth into different teams at the beginning of the year, and we're going to be doing minute to win it challenges or things like that, where they can earn points. And at the end of the year, all the way in June, we'll see which team has the most points and have a little celebration prize, everything like that. So it's just a really exciting time. And we got the junior high retreat coming as well, which we're just pumped for. And it's going to be a wild, crazy, amazing year. And I think that's what youth ministry is all about. My prediction is at Christmas time, we're going to be like, what? Wasn't it just September? Yep. So it sounds like fun. It will be. Yeah, it's going to fly by. Well, if you have any questions for Pastor Wes about either the gospel or how to get connected with youth, or how to get your children connected with youth, just shoot him a quick email at wes@waynefleetbic.com. Yep. And he'll get back to you soon. Absolutely. And my email address is julie@waynefleetbic.com. So we look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. See ya.